Hi, this is Bonnie, and I am going to be showing you how to make this card today. I am a designer for Lavinia World, and I'm going to be using a lot of products from the store today, and I'm going to really be focusing on glitter. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the things we're going to use. We're going to create this card. I'm going to show you a little bit closer. There's a lot of fun glitter on this card, and I'm also going to tell you about some other things too that are in the store that's something new. We are now offering digital paper, and this paper that I used on here is called Watercolor Strokes, and it's digital paper, and you can find that in the store. And this there's in this collection, it's called Watercolor Strokes. You will find the one that's there, and this is what it looks like originally. And it also has this color in that pack. There's 8 different sheets, and it's got this one. I did this one a little bit smaller. I reduced it. And there's this one, but there's more, obviously. And then the other one right here is called Watercolor Leaves, and that's what this is underneath here. And then this is another paper from that pack called Watercolor Leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the other things that we're going to use. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and use it and tell you what I'm using as we're going. So the first thing we're going to work on is this square right here. And what I will be using to make that is I'm going to be using the Lavinia stamps. And this one is called Tree Branch, and it's LAV 506. And the other thing I'm going to be using is some Distress Oxide ink. But let me get this set up, and we're going to go ahead and do some stamping. And we are going to be stamping, as I said, the tree branch. Okay. Right. And the first thing you do for this one is you are going to be using the Victorian, or actually, I beg your pardon, we're going to be using weathered wood. And taking a look at what, I'm going to put that to the side here too so you can see how I'm doing that. So the first thing I did, actually I'm going to be kind of doing this backwards because I rotate it when I get done. But I'm going to be doing the weathered wood like I said, and it is going to be like the furthest one out, and it just, every time you do this you can change it out. It's just a matter of getting the different colors back behind. So weathered wood. You know what, I'm going to go ahead and stamp all of these, and then at the end I'm going to tell you all the different things that I use so that I can speed this part up. So it's going to be weathered wood, Victorian velvet, and then it's going to be the VersaFine Clair Nocturne. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so I've got all of the trees stamped right now, and so the next thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and put on some embossing powder. And I'm going to be using Clair embossing powder on this, and I am using Nuvo embossing powder from the store, and it is the Clair. And I'm going to go ahead and put that on the entire thing. And I'm going to go and heat emboss that. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I've already heat embossed that, and as you can see, the black is really showing well, and there's a little bit of a shine to it. I'm going to go ahead and put on, this is called Fairy Hugs, and it is the new glitter that Lavinia World is carrying, and it's just absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous glitter. And what I'm doing is I'm putting this on top of the heat embossed, and as you can see, it's sticking to a lot of it. And then I'm going to go back over and heat emboss that one more time to make that stick. So I just wanted you to see how that does stick to it if you put it on right away. And now I'm going to go over there. You can see how beautiful, I don't know if you can see in the light, how beautiful that glitter is. So I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got this all embossed a little, and the glitter's pretty much on there. It comes off, some of it, a little bit comes off, but for the most part that glitter is staying on there. And so I'm going to crop this a little bit smaller. I'm going to crop it about right there. And then I'm going to put some distress ink on the outside of it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first, and then I'm going to be back and I'm going to distress the outside of this and the outside of this one. Okay, so I've got the edges of these all distressed, and the next step is to use this stencil that Lavinia World carries, the Frantic stampers stencil. This one, I'm trying to see what the name of this one is, if it has a name. I don't see the name. But at any rate, it is, you can see all the holes and everything in it. You'll be able to find that in the shop. But I will have the links to everything I'm talking about in this video down below the video in the description. So what I did to get the, let me show you, the sparkle, is I used this stencil, and I also used decoupage glue. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I use a brush, and all I did was I just decided what parts that I wanted to use, and I just placed that on there with a little bit of the decoupage glue. You don't want it to move around, obviously. It's just really, this is just liquid glue. And the glitter adheres to the decoupage glue, but it does dry quickly, so you don't want to take a lot of time. I'm going to do both corners, but I'm going to show you how I did one. You can see how that turned out right away. And then the glitter that I'm using is called Silver Lightning, and it's the Fairy Hugs. It's what I used previously to put on the trees. But it's called Silver Lightning, and you just shake that on, and you let that dry. And you can just see it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful, it's a beautiful glitter, and it's fine. So I love it. So I'm going to do this other corner down here. I'm going to speed it up so you can see it quicker. Okay, so I have the glitter put on using the decoupage glue and the Frantic stamper stencil. So the next thing I'm going to do is stamp this Lavinia stamp. It's called the Large Path. It's LAV 246. Again, that is also in the Lavinia World store, and I wanted to put it in a specific spot based upon where I'm going to be putting this. So once I lined this up, kind of like knowing where I want it, that's how I know to make the placement of the steps. So I'm using my larger Misty for this one to give me a little bit more flexibility. and I will be using VersaFine Clair Nocturne to make the stamp. And then once I get done stamping this one, I always put the clear embossing powder on it to seal it. And the reason I do that lots of times is if I want to come back and add any type of water element to my cards, I don't have to worry about anything happening. Although the Nocturne, the VersaFine Clear, usually don't worry about water-based things anyway. I just like doing it. It just, to me, seals it. Okay, so that worked out really well. So I'm going to go ahead and put the clear embossing powder on it, like I said, and then I'll be back to do more work on here. Okay, so I have the stones. I always forget the name of it, the large path. I have the large path stamped and embossed with clear embossing powder. The next thing that I need to do is put a moon, I want to say like a halo right here. I want to make sure that's the correct spot in which I want to put it. And let's see here. It is. That's where I want it to go. And all I'm going to do is use a Victorian velvet and Distress Oxide ink. And I'm just going to go around the outside of that slightly. I just want a little bit of a halo for a moon. And I actually cut out two circles, a larger circle and a smaller circle, so I can have two different halos. Okay, now this is the part I was telling you about, why I like to put my stamps, I like to put the clear embossing powder on them, because now if I want to rub this little bit off, that ink that went over it, it'll take it right off this ink because it's water-based. So you can just rub that off with a little bit of water. Okay, I'm going to use this again, that's right. So that's part of the moon, but then I wanted to, because what I'm going to be using for the moon is small, I decided to make a second halo. And so I'm going to go over that one too. So it's kind of like a fairyland with two moons. Okay, that one kind of moved, but I got it. It's a very, 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 very light halo. Let's see if I can get it just a little bit darker. I might not be able to. Keeps moving a little bit on me. So that's, you can kind of see it right there. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and put down the trees. It's going to be, I had to put that layer down first. And I did want to cover up a section of it, so I put double-sided foam tape on the back of the tree branches. Okay, so then the next thing I did, I'm going to go ahead and show you my card, is I'm calling these a double moon. They're really the bubbles, and I was going to show you that too. That is a fairy Orbs, and it is LAV 377, and I used two of them, the smallest and the largest. And what I did was I stamped them on watercolor paper, and I like to because it's very substantial. And you could put watercolors on it if you want to afterwards, but I didn't in this case. What I did do is I colored them in with Spectrum Noir metallic pencils because I wanted the sparkle. And so I'm going to quickly do that, and it's that fast. You can really do it because I'm going to also put some glitter in the center of these, and so I don't have to be really perfect when I color the center part in. This particular one is called Mica, I believe. Where is it? Yeah, it's called Mica. And I'm just coloring the centers. The glitter is going to go over these, but it looks better if there's something there as opposed to it being just white. And then I'm using, this one's violet, and I'm just going to pick out some of these circles and color them in randomly. on both. I really think the mica is a very nice neutral, so that's why I kind of like it. And then I also used, this one is called just pink. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in some of these other dots that are sitting. I try to get them covered. They're kind of small. And again, I stamped this with VersaFine Clair Nocturne. And then I embossed it with a Clair embossing powder. So this is how I did that. And then the next thing I did, and I think I'm going to go ahead and just quickly do that, I hand cut them. I am not sure if I actually have a die that would work for this size. Could very well, but the length of time it takes me to get my die out, I'll have probably both of these cut. And again, like I said, I'm calling them my little fairy moons, even though they call them fairy orbs. I really love these. I have used these in several of my projects. I'm going to cut the smaller one. And the other thing I kind of like about using the Clair embossing powder is it also gives it a little bit of a sparkle. It's not really sparkle, I don't know, maybe a shine. That's the best way, not sparkle. It really kind of gives a shine to the stamped images. I guess that's why I like them. Okay, so I've got that one cut. So then how I attach these is I use double-sided tape. And because there's a lip here with double-sided tape already, I double up my double-sided tape so that it will rise above this. And I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm doing the heavy side down. When I say the ones with the most bubbles. And like I said, all I'm doing is I'm putting double-sided tape there, and then I'll put one piece on the other side so it raises up. And because I always cut my tape in half, I'm going to put the extra one on the other side, and the other one, because I just want to double up so it raises above. So I'm going to bring that over and kind of center it over the halo. And that's how that's going to go. And then I just take this one off and put it underneath because, again, this is double. It's raised up a little bit. And it fits underneath there really well. So that is how I made that card. And I want to see, oh, there's one more thing I did. I forgot the fun part. Actually, this is called Cosmic Shimmer Acrylic Glue. And I like it because it's got this little tiny point on the end. And all I did was I added some glue to the center of these, as you can see. And again, this is in the Lavinia World store. I can't even hold that steady to get that on. There we go. And then the other thing they have is Cosmic Shimmer Glitter Jewels, and this stuff is pretty gorgeous. If you can see it, I love it. So I just take a pinch and I put that over the center of both of them. And then I let them dry. And that gives me a pretty fun sparkly card. I'm going to go ahead and tap that little bit off so you can see. Oops. So there you go. It's really a fun, pretty glittery card. You can see it on the branches and everything else. So again, I want to remind you about subscribing if you haven't. And like I said, everything that I've used from the Lavinia store will be below. So I hope you come back again. We have videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and they're tutorials. And the design team makes some really fun stuff. So I hope to see you again. Thanks so much.